We're representatives from the Troy High Club AAA, and we're so glad to have you here with us today. So, would you like to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Bill Yang. I work at a law firm in Detroit area. I'm licensed in Michigan in the U.S. But before I got licensed here and work at the law firm, I used to study law in China. Nankai University is prestigious university in China, and then I came to U.S. I got a master's degree from Boston University, and then came to Detroit at University of Detroit Mercy School of Law and University of Windsor. I got both degrees from U.S. and Canadian law schools. Yeah.
So, starting off our interview, our first question is what motivated you to pursue the field of law?
I think I didn't really got the idea of what kind of major I would like to study during my undergrad. I went to a foreign language school when I was like a teenager, and when I went to college, I studied in international business. But after that, I found in order to to expand my to broaden my career path. I'd like to um, try more international deal work and match their business across the border. And I found maybe business school or law school were both the best for me. But I saw a lot of the TV dramas about the legal TV dramas, which influenced me a lot. And I think in America, probably it's a better start point for me as an immigrant here to get in legal professional and serve for the international cross-border transactions. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So, uh, how do you feel that your Asian American identity has impacted your journey in law?
Yeah, I think first of all, based on my interest in the study of the history of the Asian American um, lawyers or law students in history, in the first maybe 100 years ago or 200 years ago, um, they were not fairly treated in the U.S. Um, Basically, I think is they didn't have much of the client base or a network to adapt them in. But in the recent years, I think not only for the past few decades or after Second World War, with the globalization, Asian American are playing more important roles in the international business and also in the political and cultural. Um, I think in these areas, I would say. So with all the Asian American immigrants' efforts in different industry, it gives the legal practitioner more opportunity to practice law in these areas. So I think it's a pretty complicated and very, um, I would say, is the efforts from people in all the industries and areas for the Asian Americans, which can give the legal practitioners better practice opportunities.
So, building off of that, have you ever faced discrimination in your career or anything of the sort?
Um, I think it's very hard to define what discrimination is, but legal practice has pretty, I think it has a very complicated and I think it's a cultural oriented uh, nature, like in practice. So, you know, in legal practice, we have to build the client attorney privilege, and there has to be a trust bound between the client and the attorneys. So in the practice area, not for the education or political area, I think if a lawyer is trying to be a successful practitioner, it relies on a strong community and a strong, I think, the strong economic and political background of this ethnic group in order to be a successful practitioner. So between the different races or ethnic groups, there could be some, unfair or difficult to understand, uh, cultural aspects. But I don't think it's such a discriminative, um, factors for the practice, though. But the good thing is, I think in the recent years, I also found the trend for Asian Americans here has a higher admission rate in law schools uh, above, definitely above our, you know, racial percentage in the profile, the social profile. So, and for the big law firms, like the top law firms in Wall Street or in Bay Area, or even in each big metropolitan areas, I also see more and more Asian Americans that got admitted by big law firms. That's a pretty good trend for us.
Yeah, so speaking of the future in law, um, how do you see the future of Asian American representation in the industry?
Uh, I'm pretty optimistic for that because Asian Americans are generally speaking, if it's not stereotyped, are very hardworking and good students and good desk workers. And I think yeah, pretty much, I saw a lot of like a young, promising Asian Americans are good at like arguing or speaking out, typically in courtroom as well. So I think I'm pretty optimistic for the industrial representatives in the future.
So, in a broader aspect, what challenges do you think Asian Americans face in society?
I think still is there's a lot, definitely. First of all, for the tradition, the Anglo-Saxon or Anglo-American law system has a very long history and a very, I think, is the Asian Americans had been even for generations we were trying to learn or trying to adapt ourselves to culture or the we want to assimilate the culture into the American Anglo-American legal system, and they're still pretty short for this racial group uh, to to have present ourselves in this industry. So there's some history. This is some difficulty in the history, and for now also, um, Asian American in the political professionals or some other like important or the mainstay of the economic uh, economic industry areas. Asian American is still a minority group. So yeah, these are some difficulties we may face in the future, but with the efforts in either academic area or practice area, I think there's still a lot of chance more than these difficulties for us to get into this legal practice industry.
Yeah, so can you expand on how these issues can be like addressed?
In this, what? Excuse me. Can you let me know? Sorry, it's a bit
So,
noisy. Just repeat the question
yeah,
again. Yeah, thank you.
can you expand on how these challenges can be addressed?
This
Challenges can be like
challenges. Okay, yeah.
fixed.
Uh, yeah, the biggest challenger for I think for the Asian Americans is still like the cultural background, and in practice area, I think the client base is another uh, challenge for us as well. A lot of if you want to practice in the legal industry, you still have to maintain a bigger client base. Uh, legal practice covers all the areas of the society, like whatever you live in the I don't know what kind of all over the in the world and in our society, all the industry has their respective legal practice team to taking care of the laws or the to regulate the process of these industries. So with more industries we understand, I think we always have some. America is very inclusive society. So if the society needs your specialty to work in this area, as a young legal practitioner, you can always get some opportunity to work for that.
So, what do you think are some misconceptions or like stereotypes regarding Asian Americans that you would like to address?
Yeah, when I was working in the law firm at the beginning, most people would think Asian. When I was a young attorney associate there, before I worked, I made friends with all these young attorneys and other partners, old partners. They may have had some stereotype like Asians are shy or not good at like making friends with others. sometimes they could, when we became friends, they told me so, pretty frankly. But I think I changed some of them, the stereotype of in their mind. So I was trying to talk more and have some small chat with the guys, and I sometimes ask them out and trying to be to share some private time with my coworkers and clients as well. That's what I, intentionally did. But I think when we make our behavior into a habit and trying to build our own character in others' mind, it will be very helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, what are your hopes for Asian Americans?
Yeah, I think that for the young kids of Asian Americans, I really encourage people to, to learn the law or get some knowledge of law at the early stage. Uh, Even though, when I graduated from law school, initially I sometimes, I would advise the kids not to get into law school. It's too boring, very time consuming, and takes, typically like medical school and law school, and for the initial years, like um, associate years takes maybe 6 years, and for medical school it takes like some years of residencies, maybe also 5 or 6 years. So when you start practice or start your real uh, professional career, it maybe 30-year-old. It's really time consuming. But with the years, my practice years grows, and with my practice experience got, more enriched. I got more and more. Um, I think I realized more and more that young kids should be start learning the laws or understand the laws and the organizational knowledge of the society at early stage, and it will bring you maybe open a new window to the unknown or the hidden world behind the real world, right?
So expanding on the topic of like the future generation, do you have
Yeah.
any advice for like younger Asian Americans wanting to pursue a career in law?
Yes, I really encourage. I think we are underrepresented, um, probably not demographically, but we are under represented based on the potential or our role in the, technology or academic or even the economic scale of this ethnic group. So I think, we still need more engineers, more doctors, and we also need more uh, law students and practice attorneys and even politicians who has legal background in the future.
All right, so what advice would you give to like Asian youth that are trying to pursue their dream career or
Oh, I think,
whatever?
yeah, I don't really want to give the young people some advice, but if I can go back, like back to 20 years ago of my own life, I just would follow my own heart, because as I said, legal study or legal practice covers all the corners of the society. If you like sports, you can practice sports law. If you like entertainment, there's entertainment law. There's a lot, all these celebrities, their own contracts as well. So wherever there's some relationship between people and people of certain um, like social or political arm or functions in the society, there has to be some legal relationships. So um, if the Asian American young kids were interested in any industry or hobbies, they can develop um, their own interest in that area and try to get in law school and focus study in that area. Typically, for money making for Wall Street, you can study the financial law, securities law, or corporate law. Or if you are like sports entertainment, like what I said, there's some practice like that. And if you are interested in building construction, there's construction law. um, and we also have like real estate, real estate law, estate planning law, family or marriage law. So all kinds, whatever you like, you can definitely find something you would like to learn.
So, as a successful lawyer, do you think there was like one experience or story that do you think like significantly shaped who you are today?
Oh yeah, I don't think I really made myself successful intentionally, but sometimes if I feel myself successful is the way I treat people during my early years really got rewarded. For example, I met someone in Detroit doing automotive business who just came here for um, opening a new company here who has dozens of employees and gave me like hundreds of thousands legal fee work. Um, and definitely, we were a good match, and I helped them to expand their business here. I gave them legal advice. We helped each other. The thing is, when he came here, we found we got to know each other like over 20 years ago. So when we were like 20s, when we were working at the other end of the globe in China, we were already friends, and we were nice to each other. We were really so we enjoyed our 20 years old time together, and we were honest and candid to each other, and we didn't expect we can do some business in future, in US, in a totally different country, like with 12 hours time difference. But who knows? Someday we've met in Detroit, and we work on some like a millions dollars deal together. So that really makes me feel it's a successful life, or I would like to share the story of a successful of my business or my practice to you as well.
Yeah. So, what is the most important lesson you've learned as an Asian American?
I still value our cultural background, the value of our the racial background culture. Um, I think the good lesson I've learned is, uh, we really value something we were from. But when I was in America, I also, I put myself into others' shoes. I also value the same background or the totally different background of others. I think America really taught me how to, value myself background and respect the others. It is a mutual way. Um, yeah, it's benefits for all of us.
So that's all the questions that we have for today, and thank you so much for answering our
Oh, thank
questions.
you. Yeah, thank you so much, and hope you guys can find your career path soon. And
Yes,
welcome
thank
to the
you.
legal team.